All right, let's go down the silly list of things you should never say to a musician or what not to ask a musician. Uh, I have 16 things here, so let's see if we can. Oh, yeah, you'll be here today. It's Eric that's here on Wednesday. Thank you, Jim. Keep me squared away. Oh, I would have found out as soon as I looked at the old calendar there. Okay, here we go. One question not to ask is, what's your day job? Now, why do you think that might be? Well, most musicians have a day job. I too was part of that for years and years and years until recent years, when becoming a musician was my full-time job, which was a lot of work and continues to be, but it's work that I love. So Kirby's got his coffee in hand. Good job. Who laughs this much at 7 a.m.? Apparently I do. Having a day job is not a bad thing, but I think just in general, people look at musicians as they possibly can't make a living being a musician, so they have to have income from somewhere. I think the question's innocent enough, but I think it can knock our ego around a little bit, our ego or our confidence or something of that nature. So don't ask a musician what their day job is. Let's see. Another question not to ask. Do you mind playing for free? It's huge exposure. All right, I hate this subject is touchy for me. I have played countless shows for free. Oh, Kirby says the groundhog got it wrong. I almost had to put my glasses on. Playing for free. Yes, I've done many shows playing for free. And it's always, sold to you. You tell yourself this, or maybe the venue tells you, it's great exposure. It's a chance to get your band in front of a lot of people. And typically that is the case. If you're going to play a big show and you don't have much going for yourself, it can be a way for people to discover you easily. But typically there's no compensation for that. Now, why is that? Well, the number one reason is because we agreed to do it. That's the bottom line. And there's sometimes a fear of asking for some kind of compensation, because if you don't take the gig, they're going to give it to the band that's willing to do it for nothing. And that could also be the case. So that's something that you have to figure out for yourself and decide if that's the risk you want to take, if it's a risk for you. But we tend to want to all blame the venue for not paying enough, if at all. This conversation can go 1,000 different directions. I think we probably all think our band is good enough to be doing great things. But, you have to be a business person. And if you're a business person, then typically you will end up being able to demand more for your time. When I had my own landscaping business, I didn't offer to work for free for people so that I could get the experience. I wasn't into killing myself shoveling and digging trenches and putting in sprinklers and stuff for free just to see if it would work out and people would like it. So I had to be a businessman. I had to provide for my family. I had to pay my mortgage. So I could not afford to play or to work for free. So be careful how much of your services that you offer for free. But we want to blame the venue. We want to blame the promoter. We want to blame the owner. Yeah, you got to try to work out of those situations. Greg, who always has good stuff to say, says, let the venue go with the lowest bidder. We know how that goes in the private sector. Yeah. And James, my buddy, happy birthday, James. Free is for young drummers or bands to get attention, after that paid. Yes, 100%. Yeah. So those are all things to weigh out in your mind as you commit to those things. So I am a full-time drummer, so teaching is my main bulk of my income, but I also do fairly well in recording drum tracks for people here in my studio and playing shows with Cliff Miller. It does require travel quite frequently, but when you come home with a nice little paycheck, it's all worth it. So, we're trading our time for money, I guess. So there's also that sacrifice of being away from family. So all those things are things to consider. Jim says, bring value and demand pay. Yeah, it's being a business. I think as musicians, we are so involved in the art of it, and there's a lot of emotion in music. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be, but there's that business side of things. So make sure you take care of business, because no business can survive without having a business mindset. So, I'm at an age now where I know plenty of musicians that are older who are kind of curmudgeons, who have had countless bad experiences, and the common denominator in there is that person just did not have a business mindset. So if you have a business mindset, that's going to work out better for you. I could talk for hours on that whole subject. I'm not going to. It's like in Groundhog Day. Phil, I'd really love to stand here and talk to you, but I'm not going to. Let's see. Here's another one. Can you play something for me right now? Anybody ever experienced that? They find out you're a musician and they're like, especially singers. I'm not a singer, thankfully, for many reasons. Sing something for me. They just on the spot want you to do something. It's kind of like having a piano in your house when people discover you have a piano. Oh, you play piano? Yeah, well, play something for me. Steve Alderetti, my buddy Steve. How are you? Let's see. I need to just catch up with Steve. Steve, we should go have coffee sometime, just for the sake of having coffee in person together. That would be great. Number 4. Cool. Can I touch your instrument? That one doesn't bother me so much. However, when you are, oh yeah, Amos, you're a comic. Say something funny. Yes, my buddy Amos is on here, and he is a comedian. So yeah, he gets it. His version of being a musician with people being asking to say something funny. I think comedic actors who are in movies and stuff probably get that from people on the street. They expect those people to be in that character that they were in the movie, and probably not the case. So yeah, tell me a funny joke. But can I touch your instrument? So when you have an instrument, a lot of times people want to sit down and play that, or pick it up and mess around. Um, I see that more playing like the bar gigs. So you go on break, and then there's somebody that comes up out of the audience who's a drummer. I'm a drummer. Can I sit at your drums and whack around? No, you can't. Don't ask to do that. Don't ask to sit in with the band and play a song, or come up and sing a song, or people grabbing tambourines and randomly shaking a tambourine. Is so annoying. It's not very professional. Uh, I would probably add into the mix of that when you're playing and performing. It doesn't matter where you are, but the people that come up and they start trying to talk to you while you're playing, I think singers and guitar players probably get that more than anybody else. Can you play Wipeout? Yeah, James, I've been asked that, like you, probably I don't know, 8 million times. That and Hawaii 5-0. Yes, drummers get asked to play Wipeout all the time. But yeah, people coming up, interrupting you while you're singing, while you're playing, trying to get your attention and getting you to play some song that you probably don't know. Yeah, Freebird. I wish that joke would go away. That joke needs to go away. It's too old. It's uh, uh. So I have two things that are funny about people asking you to play stuff. So I know that I was playing a outdoor show with Cliff Miller, and I saw this person. It's funny what you see from the drummer's point of view. But this person came up. Cliff is playing his guitar, singing. The guy's trying to wave him down. I don't know if he reached out and tugged on his pant leg or whatever, but he was trying to interrupt Cliff to ask if we could play a certain song. Now, where's the people need some etiquette lessons, I guess. So then I saw him disappear, and I kind of lost track of where he went. Of course, Cliff didn't stop. And then all of a sudden, I feel this tug at the back of my shirt. So, like I said, it was an outdoor thing. I'm up on this riser, and this guy's pulling. And now I have my in-ear monitors in. So it's like being in my own little cocoon. And I look down, and he's, don't do that. Stop doing that to people. Yeah, I think anybody that's played in a band, especially in a bar, has experienced this goofiness. So people, don't do that, please. Let's see. Here's another one. Is that a real song or did you make it up? Oh boy, that sounds like something familiar. Is that a real song or did you make it up? Yeah, don't ask musicians that question. Any of us who write original material probably could relate to that. Mike Arrington is here. Let me put my glasses on for you, sir. Here we go. Now that I figure out how this works. When someone asks for a song at a bar gig, I always say either we just did that, did you hear it, or we're going to do that later. Yeah, you could say that. I prefer kicking them in the shins. Oh, yeah. Don't bother musicians. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine walking into a restaurant and asking for something you know is not on the menu? Going to a fine Italian restaurant and asking for Mexican food. We don't do that here. Let's see. This one kind of ties back into number one. What do you do for money? Well, I play music for money. Again, people not realizing that you could be a musician and get paid and make a living doing that. So I think there might be this thing out there where people look at you and think, oh, that's not possible. They could make a, maybe they're just terrible at their instrument. I don't know. Can I have a hot pocket, please? Yeah, exactly. This made me think of another question or a situation traveling with Cliff, and you're going through these small rural towns, and Cliff is a small town guy, which is awesome. I could see the allure for that simpler life. Not a lot of people around, and Cliff is an outdoor guy, so he does. You know, I'm more of a city guy, so I can't get too far into what all that entails. But um, he mentioned like we'd be driving through some small little town somewhere, and he goes, I could imagine me and Christy living here. But then other people would go, well, what would you do for what would you do for money? What would you do for income? He's like, I don't know yet, but obviously people live here and they can afford to do so and they have a job somewhere. But that's where outside forces start coming into your dreams and telling you you can't do that because dot dot dot. Let's see, where did I lost my page. my place. What do you do from? Okay. Uh, I love listening to your kind of music when I'm trying to fall asleep. So whatever that means, it was on the internet, so I put it on my paper. I I know when I was in high school and early 20s, I did like to listen to music as I fell asleep. Um, when Mary and I started dating, she made me a mixtape that I would play in my cassette player. So I loved listening to music as I fell asleep. Um, wasn't any particular style. I probably could fall asleep to just about anything because you're tired and your mind's not really thinking about the music. So um, here's another one. This, bla- okay, this is another one I could probably go off on. Sorry, nobody is here. You can leave early for half the pay. So that's nobody's at the gig. Um, Now, whose fault is that? That's one where probably a lot of people would want to point fingers at why there aren't people at your show. Um, yes, I do know that there are certain venues, and this is not just unique to the Boise area. This is probably a global thing where, depending on where you're playing too, but the venue's not promoting the show. I know that Ironwood, and now that they have new owners, it might be different, but Ironwood had put on their marquee, and I don't even remember the name of the band, but the name of the band was on the marquee for like 4 months with a 4-month-old date. Like, you have bands that are playing there Friday night and Saturday nights. Somebody should be keeping up with their advertising efforts so that they know who's playing and when. And plus, venues have social media pages that they could be promoting. I see a lot that aren't following through with that. Um, Venues who print tickets, but they don't put the name of the bands on the ticket. That seems a little strange to me. So I think us as musicians, when you see venues and club owners not participating and helping promote a show, and so much of this is just free to do. It's free to put a mention on your page and promote it, and plus you could do sponsored ads as well. Those aren't very expensive, but it seems like if the venue was investing a little bit of effort into helping promote, that would help. The other side of that coin too is bands who don't do any promotion either. So I think as long as you're doing your part, that's the best. That's all that you can really ask for. But I think when you're booking shows, you could ask a club what their efforts would be in helping make that a success. Again, it comes back to having that business mind. What can we do to make this a success? Just having a gig booked and then nope, neither party is saying a word about it. That's not going to be very helpful at all. Justin Tam is here. Ron is here. Mark is here. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. So there's that. Deep thoughts with Fred Fisher. Yeah. So I have been part of gigs where there's nobody there and or very few people, and the club owner has said, yeah, let's just wrap it up. But they didn't short us money because of that. Uh, there could be other forces that affect that. If you're in the Treasure Valley, don't play shows on the same night of a Boise State game. That's usually going to slow traffic down to come see you. So I would put that out there to, you can look at the Boise State football calendar and easily come up with dates to block out, at least if you're playing here. Here's another one. Can't you just do this as a hobby? Don't say that to musicians. Now, I did have a musician friend actually tell me that within the last year. Um, because I get excited about what I'm doing personally, and and I think typically most people when they're excited about something like to tell their friends about what's happening in their life and looking for that support and encouragement. This particular one is in that realm of looking at me saying, you can't do that. Can't you just be happy here just doing this thing? Can't you just accept what's going? That's that's information none of us like to hear. So, can you just do this as a hobby? Uh, for me, no, nope, not, nope. I can't do it. Here's another. This saying is probably a little dated now, but maybe it could fall into that whole online streaming world. Number 11. Your CD was great. I burnt copies for all my friends. Yes, this has happened to the midline band where any of us who have spent time and efforts in a recording studio and having an album put together, that those dollars can add up quite fast into a large amount. So, when a band's spending, $10,000 to $20,000 for a 10-song CD, that's a lot of money. And you would hope that your friends and family and people who like the band would actually pay to have a piece of that. So when we take music and it's not ours and we copy it and we give it to other people, that person who made the music is the one who's going to suffer the consequence of that. So it is stealing. It doesn't seem like it's stealing because maybe you don't have something physical in your hand. Well, I guess if you were burning CDs, you'd have something physical in your hand. But maybe some of us get in that a mindset of, well, it doesn't cost that much. Is it really stealing? Well, how much stuff do you have to steal of worth before you're actually uh, feeling guilty about that? So don't steal people's music. Don't give away what doesn't belong to you. And and you should feel good about supporting the people who make the music. Really, you should. My microphone's still working. Yes, good. Yeah. So I've been victim to that. If you want to call it that, people, hey, check out our new CD. It's not even printed yet. Check out these songs, and then they go ahead and rip it and give it to 10, 15, 20 people. Hey, check out the new Midline record. It's not out yet. Okay, well, you just lost us, $200 in sales by giving away our music that wasn't yours to give away. Uh, so stop doing that. I mean, we could all get involved in talking about online streaming services too. You have to have a million streams to get paid $1 or whatever the math is these days. I'm not even sure. Uh, but I would say that if you're putting your music out there online and you're using like DistroKid or CD Baby or those kind of um, services, to me and for what I'm doing and the bands I play with, the music, it's worth paying the extra money to have the pro level service and to actually have your songs copywritten. And it's very easy to do. And it protects your work and protects you too. So I would highly recommend. Again, business. Be a business person. Don't be scared of being a business person. Don't be scared of being paid for your services. I think I think if every musician was had some kind of business sense, the whole scene of everything would be much better. So don't be afraid to learn new things. It's okay. Your brain can handle it. And you feel better about it. So Kirby says it's definitely a passion you can't shake. Yep, totally true. I will play drums until I can't play drums anymore. I don't have any reason to stop. I did try to stop chasing this dream in 2009 and quickly realized that was a huge mistake. So I had to get into a different frame of mind and do something different than what I've been doing before because it wasn't working and it was very discouraging. So part of that is getting business sense ingrained into what I was doing. So, and I would say I didn't do it alone. I've had really great mentors in my corner as I've gone through this, because you got to find out information from people that are doing the things that are working. Getting advice from people who are failing or had failed at it, that's not going to help. It's not going to help your frame of mind either, your mental health. Anyway, here's another one to not ask your musician friends. Can I get into your show for free with a +1? The guest list. Asking about the guest list. Now, I do have people who occasionally will come along and say, hey, I'd love to go. Do you have a guest list? I used to get excited about that. Now it just bugs me because I know that if they really wanted to support me, they would buy the ticket. They would buy the ticket. Am I of no value to you, or am I not worth being supported? I think a guest list, if you wanted to be business smart about it, could be reserved for radio personalities, maybe, or press, or something like that. Something that you want to help promote your band through is getting hold of those people who might be able to review your band or something like that. You could contact them and say, hey, I have this show coming up. I would love for you to come check us out, and I could put you on our guest list, and you could bring a friend or whatever. I think those kind of guest lists make sense to do, but your buddy who refuses to, the guy who ripped your CD and gave it to everybody is probably the same guy asking to get in for free to your show. No, make that joker pay. Make that joker pay. Because ultimately your band would like to pay, and you want to see people paying to get into the venue, because the venue is going to make money too. So, the guest list thing, that could be. I do have one friend who I see go to these big extravagant concerts and does all this travel to go to these shows, and he could be at Red Rocks, could be at the Gorge, could be Las Vegas, the Sphere, things like that. But then all of a sudden you're playing a show and he's like, can you get me on the guest list? I don't have any money. No. Kick that guy to the curb. Oh, here's another one not to ask a musician. What's your backup plan? I talked about this months ago. Typically, people who have a plan B go with plan B because plan A takes more effort. Plan A requires you to get out of your comfort zone. Plan A typically requires figuring stuff out, making a plan. Plan B seems to be the easy way out. It's like having a safety net there. So, people asking what your backup plan is, don't ask musicians what their backup plan is. They're working their plan right now. So, and that's another thing that my parents never asked me. Well, if this thing fails, what are you going to do? They didn't put doubt in my mind by saying those things. So my parents were always very encouraging, and Mary and I are the same with our boys. Just trying to be encouraging. Yes, do we have concerns about their immediate futures? 100%. And that's because we're their parents. So, but asking a musician what their backup plan, don't do that. Let's see. I don't think this is necessarily something not to ask a musician. I think it's a way that people want to try to connect with a musician, but they'll say, "That's cool. I used to play piano when I was a kid." Well, you could take that a bunch of different ways. One is that, yeah, I've been through this music thing too once when I was a kid before I realized it wasn't for me. But I think it's more of an innocent question asking or telling somebody that, oh, yeah, you're a musician. I used to do that too when I was a kid or something. Sometimes people want to try to connect with you or have something to talk about that's relatable. Uh, it was on the list, so I wrote it down. Greg says plan A requires tenacity, fortitude, and see, and the virtue of not giving up. Virtue, yes. That looks weird. There we go. It does. It requires effort. Number 15. You know what you should do is fill in the blank. people people giving advice to musicians, especially advice from somebody that's not a musician who has no inside knowledge of how all of that works. Uh, yeah, be careful where your advice comes from, even from me. Uh, I'm just offering my unsolicited advice based on my experience, and the growth that I've experienced over the last couple of years has been exciting. So I do have a lot of work to do still. So I'm just keep moving the ball down the field. But um, when a non-musician tells another musicians what you should do is, they got it all figured out. Don't tell that to another musician. Let's see. And the last one, I think this also comes from an innocent perspective. Is you're really good, you should go on The Voice or American Idol, or America's Got Talent. That's another one, right? Those three. I'm not sure if X Factor falls into that category or not. Uh, I suspect, just knowing some of the people that are watching, that you are probably not necessarily a fan of The Voice or American Idol and things like that. Uh, these competition shows, and they want to add all this drama into the backstory of these people who came from a horrible situation or whatever it is. Um, but when you see which one's is it America's Got Talent with Simon on there? I think that's correct. These people who wait in line for days to go in and sing for 30 seconds, and they think that they're really talented, and they sound like those chickens that you squeeze. They have no ability to sing whatsoever. Why are they getting airtime? Again, it's made for television stuff. So I know some people. I'm a pretty big fan of Mrs. Fisher's singing, and along with a lot of other people. And she's been asked many times, "How come you don't go on The Voice or something like that?" I don't think that it's meant to. What am I trying to say? I think they mean it as a compliment. They don't mean any disrespect by telling somebody that. But I think when they see something like that, and then they know somebody personally who's just as good, if not better, than some of the people that they see on there, they want to say, "Okay, you could go and mop the floor with these people because you're so great." Uh, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But um, I think Mary's doing very well without having to be on some competition show. Let's see. This is the point of my life where I'm glasses on, glasses off. Greg says, I used to be told that I should audition for those shows all the time. It is tiresome. Tiresome hearing that? Probably. I think that's what you meant. And Amos says, Mary is the bomb, that's all. Amos, I agree. Yes, I agree. She's quite good at what she does, and she's an awesome wife. September we'll be married 28 years, I believe. I think that's right. Mary and I were doing the math the other day, and we're like, how long have we been married? I don't even know anymore. But yeah, so don't suggest to your musician friends that they should be on The Voice or America's Got Talent or something like those. Those are gimmick TV. Call it gimmick TV. I think everybody on here seems to be agreeing with that. So, yeah. So those are 16 things not to ask your musician friends. I think there's some good stuff in there.